Love them or hate them, social media influencers are bagging the big bucks worldwide. And we're not just talking about Kim Kardashian or Kylie Jenner. Think globally. Your next-door neighbor could be an influencer too. You may not like how they do it, how they jump on every trend, and how they influence their followers into buying anything that they can get their hands on. From baby products, hair, skin, and makeup products, to alcohol, cryptocurrency, and real estate. Essentially, these influencers sell their followers anything a brand contracts them to. But to what end? Are these influencers ethical, or are they the scourge of the digital era? Let's not forget that the influencer marketing industry is projected to be worth at least $16.8 billion in 2022. So is it good or is it bad? What makes social media influence so bad? A large following, influence online, established credibility, great sales skills, good content creation, and a source of inspiration and entertainment are ingredients that make up and back social media influencers. There is some good in there, but with how these guys touch and influence everything, should they be looked up to as role models by the younger generations? Well, we don't think so. And even at times when these influencers seem to share some more inspirational content, it should all be taken with a grain of salt. Survivorship bias. Ultimately, very few influencers have built their platforms organically. Most of them had to do sponsored posts, work with other influencers for mentions, or create drama around their brand and make up lies for clout and followers. But this isn't the worst bit. For relevance and to be relatable, these influencers use a toxic path to gain followers and traction online. They share their sappy stories about what they've been through and the pain that they've suffered in the past. Then they use it to hook and to bring in new followers. A generic yet effective strategy that seems to be taught widely in Clout Chasing 101. With survivorship bias, these influencers understand that rags to riches sentiment sells all the time, making people pity you work for the masses. So while there are a few smart people who will see right through the lies, many don't, and the influencers count on this. But it's not only the dark side of social media influence. There's a lot more harm that results from influencing. The end justifying the means. Every potential influencer goes the extra mile to ensure more clicks. This means saying and promoting anything that will give them more views. The sad part about that is, the addition to preying on people's emotions, the race to more views, likes, and follows, means making things up. Most of the stories influencers tell are lies. The expensive homes, the trips, and the hotels that they go to are paid for, and many are in debt. But they have to keep up the image of being inspirational, hardworking, and successful, to the detriment of their followers. One of the biggest problems that has been perpetuated by social media influencers is an increase in and the worsening of mental health problems. The truth is that these influencers are not just sharing products by the big and sometimes small brands. Often they create an illusion of a simpler life that requires no hard work at all. A world where things come easy. And even worse, a world where they're forced to compare their lives with the lives of the other influencers, and all of these lead to a great deal of mental anguish, worsening mental health problems like anxiety, depression, and other mental health problems. It's human nature to compare things, people, and places, and some doing better than you and rubbing it in your face is guaranteed to make you feel bad about yourself. And not just that, it may exacerbate some other problem areas that someone may be dealing with already, especially because it affects an individual's feeling of self-worth significantly. Social media influencers also worsen social media addiction, social anxiety, and the development of parasocial relationship behaviors. This is a very big problem, because social media users often develop some form of relationship with the person that they deem as their favorite influencer. This one-sided relationship with these characters and personalities often leads to a strong attachment, and even an addiction if the influencer dies or moves on to do other things. There are a few instances where these relationships are rewarding, often when they're inspiring and positively influencing. But in many instances, there's too much pain suffered as a result of these relationships, often in the form of damage to self-esteem and self-confidence, or even a feeling of loneliness that can fuel things like depression and anxiety. Sadly, most influencers continue to push the agenda by leading a fake life. While others are genuinely well-paid and can afford the expensive lifestyle, many others cannot. So telling their followers that they can get into the business too, if only they believe in themselves, might be a hoax. And many people don't succeed in the craft because either their goals were unattainable or they just didn't have what it took. Remember that many of the successful influencers are in the business as a side hustle and have other streams of income. And many others only quit their day jobs when influencing starts to pay. They didn't quit their boring day jobs the first time they thought they could do it. They only made the big move after carefully determining that they could do without their day job and would be well paid to create content. It doesn't start or end like this for many people, and influencers not being transparent about this hurts their followers more than it helps. The use of children as influencers is the other dark element that springs from social media influence. A child may be talented, but why should you expose every little thing about your child's life to the internet? Also, teens' obsessions with influencers can be harmful and should not be encouraged as the best way to richness. That influencer may not be as authentic as they sound. Be careful about what you take as the gospel truth.